welcome into the Mountaineers Now post-game show. I'm Schuyler, Callihan, and joined with me, as always, former West Virginia running back Eugene Napoleon. Gene, the Mountaineers back in the win column. They're back to 500 on the season. Now at 3-3, they get their first league win of the year as they defeat the Baylor Bears 43-40 in a completely wild Thursday night game. There's been a ton of them over the years at Mountaineer Field, but this one's got to rank up there. Just an old-fashioned Big 12 shootout with a couple of defensive scores in this game. Just give me your initial thoughts on this one.
Listen, I'm excited, first off, for Baylor to come into Morgantown and lose again. Happy about that, right? But more importantly, the running game was on point.
Yeah.
To win a game like that, we threw the ball, I think, a few yards shy of 300, correct? If I'm not mistaken. We threw the ball well, but we ran the ball, very effectively. I think we kept Baylor off balance, but more importantly, the defense came to play tonight.
Yeah.
That's what I'm used to seeing. The defense came to play tonight. A few scores, a few stops. Special teams did their thing. Everything that we talked about in pregame, they wound up executing tonight, and that's why they got the win.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at those stats while we're at it. So JT Daniels finishes the game 24 of 37 for 283 yards, a touchdown, and a pick apiece. Caden Prather, 8 catches, 109 yards, and a score. But the man of the game offensively, and I think you would agree with this as well, Tony Mathis, 163 yards on the ground, 2 scores on 22 carries. Pretty darn good for filling in for the injured C.J. Donaldson. And then we're going to go over to the Baylor side of things here. Blake Shapen, what a half he had. He ended up getting hurt, knocked out of the game. They had to bring in the backup quarterback, Kyron Drones. But Shapen went 14 of 22, 326, and 2 scores. Gavin Holmes, 7 catches, 210 yards, and a touchdown. And Richard Reese, 13 carries, 57 yards. But let's talk about that defense, because obviously it wasn't great from start to finish, and I would say for the most part there's still a lot that needs to be worked on, especially on that defensive side. But when they needed the stops most, they came to play, and they even kind of came up in spurts where you didn't expect them to. At the end of the game where they got that game, essentially the game-sealing interception from Aubrey Burks. It wasn't the game-sealing one, but you get the point. It was a huge momentum swing in that game. And then you have the block extra point earlier on. A couple of forced fumbles, the scoop and score from Jasir Cox. Jasir Cox had 2 fumble recoveries in this game. So, again, really good stuff from the defense in spurts. What did you see in the times where the defense didn't play as well that they need to really focus and hone in on before they hit the road next week to take?
Listen, the bottom line is there were some plays, there were some holes in there that was created by Baylor's offensive line, and I think missed assignments on our side of the ball. But my point is, as long as you come up with plays when you need to make plays, that's the sign of a defense that's kind of maturing, and they're kind of getting it. It's almost like they're kind of finding their rhythm. Now, Baylor's offense is a very interesting offense, first off, because we see they threw the ball all around the lot early parts of the game. We understand that. Yeah. But when we needed stops, we got them. What I would like to see moving forward when you're playing, Baylor's a good football team. Let me just say that. All right. It's not like they're the bottom of the barrel of our conference. Baylor is a really good football team because they're well coached. But I was happy to see tonight we look prepared. We look prepared. And if you look prepared and you play well, you have a chance to win some football games. This was a much needed win, but they won the game the right way. They battled. I'm telling you, Schuyler, I was glad to see them win a game like this where they battled. They didn't give up.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be competitive moving forward, you got to play the same exact way, minus a few mistakes. We got to clean some things up, but you got to play the same exact way from now to the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to look at, too, I think if you go back and watch our pregame show, I think we were pretty spot on with what we said, right? You needed to get out to a fast start, which they did. They got the 3 and out. They scored. They kind of slowed down after that, but they got up to that fast start. They ran the football. Remember, we didn't want to see Graham Harrell revert back to his air raid days. And then what was the one thing me and you agreed on? Oh, yeah, the big play on special teams. And guess what? It happened. The block kick, you run it back for 2 points. We were 3 for 3 this week. I'm just saying. I mean, we got to give ourselves a little pat on the back or something for that, but because we don't get it right that often. But yeah, I think when you look at the running game, you don't have C.J. Donaldson. He's your leading rusher. Tony Mathis has the game that he had. I mean, I think that's a huge confidence booster for him. I think Justin Johnson was good in spurts as well.
Right.
This was just a really solid win because you look at early on in the game when they were down 17-7. That game could have easily just got out of hand and it end up being what the Texas game was 2 weeks ago. But they
Right.
battled through it. They got through that adversity, and they just kind of kept their way. And to be honest with you, Gene, I never felt like they were out of it, even at 17-7. Like it felt like that offense was going to be able to keep scoring. It was just a matter of whether or not the defense was going to be able to make enough plays to let them stay in the game, and they were able to do that.
No doubt about it. Well, I felt that as well. To be honest with you, there was never a point in this game where I felt we would lose the game. I'm just being honest because, again, it's the vibe of the game. It's just the flow of the game. They looking on the sideline, the energy of the offense, the defense, special teams guys on the sideline. They were energetic through and through. They were very confident that they was going to win this football game. And when you're confident and you play that way, typically good things happen. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to the one very most important point. They were prepared to play this type of game. And that's my only, you have to be prepared every week to play the way they played tonight. I'm telling you, good things can happen if we play the way we played tonight moving forward.
Yeah, we're 6 games in. This is the halfway point of the season, which is hard to believe. Sitting at 3-3, if you do what you did in the first half of the season, you're going bowling. Obviously, they want to finish stronger than that. It's not an easy schedule down the stretch. But speaking of that schedule, let's go ahead and take a look at the road ahead. Next week, West Virginia returns back to a Saturday night game or to a Saturday game as they head out to Lubbock to take on Texas Tech, a team again that West Virginia has not beaten under Neil Brown. They return home the following week to host TCU, who is red hot right now and at the top of the league. They've got a big one this week against Oklahoma State. And then after that, they head out to Ames, Iowa to take on the Cyclones of Iowa State. So, Gene, these next couple of games, it feels like it could really kind of tip the season in one way or another for West Virginia. Do you get that feeling? And what do they need to, I guess, really, what do you need to see next week when they go to Texas Tech that gives you the confidence that this team will end up going to a bowl game?
To be honest with you, the extension of the run game tonight, takes the pressure off of Daniels. And I think it helps him to navigate some things and to also be patient within our passing game. And if you can do that and kind of keep it balanced, that's fine for our offense. Special teams got to turn up another notch. You have to have another big performance on the road at Texas Tech on special teams. Our defense, clean up the little mistakes. But next week, I want to see at least 2 to 3 sacks.
Yeah, that's got
At
to
least
that's got to start coming.
because if that comes, once again, it takes the pressure off your back end. We need that. If they can put that thing together, Schuyler, I'm telling you, this can be an interesting next 3 weeks because you're right, it's pivotal. These next 3 weeks is really going to set the stage for what it's going to look like in terms of the rest of the conference, obviously, but as far as bowl projections and potential bowl opportunities, these next 3 weeks will align you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm in the same frame of mind with you there. Defensively, I think they just got to clean up the missed tackles, get
Right.
better angling, and you're right. If they get more pressure on the quarterback, that's going to help out that secondary immensely because of the young, inexperienced talent that they have back there. There is talent there. We've seen it. Jacoby Spells, Andrew Wilson-Lamp, Aubrey
Definitely.
Burks. They're just young pups still trying to figure their way through it. So that's going to do it for tonight's Mountaineers Now post-game show. Again, West Virginia comes out with as the winner, 43-40. We'll be back next week for the walkthrough game day show to preview West Virginia and Texas Tech. hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Mountaineers Now. You can follow us on Twitter at Mountaineers Now, myself at Callihan _ and Eugene at Napoleon _ Eugene. So until next week, take care.